Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome. Peace TV, you're watching another episode with Sheikh Salim Al-Amri, Sheikh Hasim Al-Hakim, and Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Saifuddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And we've started talking about the ideal Muslim wife. So sisters, take out your pens, your papers. Brothers, also, open your ears, open your eyes, and inshallah, bidnillah, you'll benefit from these sessions. We've talked in the previous episode about the issue of Iman being one of the characteristics of the ideal Muslim wife or a woman. Beautifying herself, it is something from ibadah, and this will be something that makes it easy on the husband. And she becomes like sukoon for him when he comes to the house. It's something that is very important. And
I would like to add one thing.
Yes,
to
please.
The beauty.
Fadal.
Subhanallah, the sisters, some of them, out of love of the husband, they go also to the extreme. They do plastic surgery. Okay. And so that's not required. Because that is then changing Allah's creation and it's going to affect your health. Okay. So within what is permissible. Okay. If the husband even asks you to do it, you should not listen, because this body is Allah's make. It's not his. So he cannot tell you go and do this and use this, what they call it?
Collagen and
all this.
Unless you want to make it back to natural.
Natural.
If there's a
accident
defect
or
something that is so bad.
Something, mashallah. This is the beauty of our deen, subhanAllah, that there's always something to bring you back and keep you within certain limits, but at the same time doesn't leave you without any solutions and options for a problem, which is something very amazing.
If he interrupted you, I might interrupt you as well.
Faddal. Go ahead,
the issue of Iman, we have a problem. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Now, when you look for a woman who is religiously committed, we tend to look only at the surface. Right. So I'd like to get married to a practicing woman, a committed woman. And they would say,
I want to marry a niqabi or something.
Yes, this is Islam.
Right.
She has to be wearing the niqab and the gloves. Other than that, we don't tend to look a little bit further, but there is way much further. See, she has to be practicing. If she mixes with her cousins or non-mahrams, if she listens to music, if she watches soap operas and she says, well, listen, I can't live without a TV set, I have to watch this, it's an addiction. If she misbehaves with the elders, the way she speaks to her mom, how is she going to speak to your mother?
Mom.
So when we say that she has to be religiously committed, we have to put this in perspective. As the same thing applies for men. We have talked about this. It's not only the beard that counts in religious commitment, it's a lot of things that fall underneath.
MashaAllah. So a lot of people do come, and that's the first thing, their first requirement is, I want a niqabi, Brother, find me a niqabi. That's my first requirement, which is, again, something very surface, I wanted to bring one more.
Well, let me interrupt you again. Sorry.
Go ahead. Bismillah.
It is surface, but without it, you don't have the core.
Right.
So someone says, niqab is something artificial.
Right.
The most important thing is what's in the heart. So this means that I marry or choose someone who wears a miniskirt and says the iman is in the heart. No, it's a full package deal.
No.
So when you choose to take a niqabi, make sure that she's having the rest of it.
Well, that makes me think of women as a very precious jewel inside a nice box. You need to see a nice box that is wrapped very well, but once you open that box, you find a jewel inside. You find something that is very, very precious. So that what women is supposed to look
inside out
and to be.
Like a
inside and
a
out.
pearl contained by the
shell.
The shell, you know, mashallah, subhanAllah. Something that's very important, a question that comes in, you know, this is something I think we need to answer in this show. A lot of brothers ask, well, I know this lady, and mashallah, she prays. She prays, and she reads Quran, and she has very good akhlaq, manners. She treats her mom kindly. She's always serving people, volunteering, but she's not wearing hijab. And he says, you know, can I marry her? It seems like she wants to, or I think she's willing to. She's not there yet. Everything I see is correct, but she's not yet. Can this person marry this woman, or?
Can or can't? Definitely he can. If he can marry a Christian or a Jew, definitely by default he can marry a Muslim woman who has shortcomings. But would this be the ideal situation?
Right.
Is it recommended?
There are so many good things in her. But this thing that stands out is not a light thing to have. You know, she's riding with you in the car. She's an excellent wife, an excellent mother, but she's not wearing the hijab at all. And you stand at the traffic light next to Sheikh Ahmed or Sheikh Salim, and you don't even know how to say Assalamu alaikum. If she was covered, you have no problem with that. But see, is this the only choice available, or there are other alternatives you can choose from? If this is the only one, definitely there's lots of khair in her. But if there are better that you can choose from, I don't know, Sheikh.
Well, I think the point is, what would be the reason for not her to cover? I think we need to see if she has an excuse there or not. If she is unable to do it because of certain circumstances of living in a particular society or under certain circumstances, although we find that it's very easily done anywhere in the world. No one prevents you from putting on hijab. Maybe covering your face is another issue which might be not allowed or may bring you certain difficulties and challenges under certain circumstances.
Welcome to France.
Well, that's why we say that we need to study the case. However, it's always preferable and recommended, as Sheikh Salim indicated clearly, we need to see someone who is completely a good Muslim, both in Iman and outside. She needs to sacrifice some of the things that she was probably going through or she was enjoying, as she thought was enjoying before the marriage. If she wants to marry, obviously a man would look for a woman who's really a committed Muslimah. Even if he's not up to that level, he normally would love to see a woman who's committed, someone who's really willing to, because he said, well, this is going to be the future mother of my children. How would I accept someone who's less than what a perfect woman is supposed to be? So she needs to work hard in order to reach that level. It takes time. And I think mothers should help their daughters to reach that point. It's not just only the girl who needs to be working on herself, but the whole family should work together in order to bring a good wife to be for the husband who's willing to come. And I think once she is a good Muslimah and people would know about her, and I would feel that many would come to propose to her if she's in that level. That brings me to the issue of haya. I think haya or bashfulness is very significant in the life of a girl, especially when she wants to come to marriage. You don't like someone who's boasting, who's always wanting to show everything she has. She always staring at men. Well,
loud voice.
Or raising her voice. You need someone who's very bashful, someone who's really humble, someone who really doesn't like to talk to men face to face, who's really, really shy in the sense that, and that's part of her beauty.
Yeah.
It really makes her very attractable.
I made a point here,
men.
making it the point called femininity.
Well,
this is something that, you know, to be
it's part
feminine.
of your femininity as a woman
It's something that's lost today almost. And
well, that's the problem because of
that is the asset of the woman. If you lost it,
it's almost extinct today, though, Sheikh. And if you look around, as you said, women are loud. They're sometimes vulgar. They want to be like men, masculine, the way they walk, the way they, and this bashfulness, subhanAllah, and excuse me for interrupting. It is attractive, the bashfulness, the haya, it becomes something attractive in a woman for her husband. And at the same time, that haya keeps the other people away, which is hands off. And this is a statement, like, keep away. While, sometimes being loud and being flirtatious only invites yes. The other side, subhanAllah.
Then Surah Al-Qasas, the woman who Musa later on married, peace be upon him, she came walking in bashfulness and shyness.
Al-istihya.
Allahu Akbar.
Istihya. She was doing it in the fullest sense of bashfulness. And she only, with a short statement, because after he did what he did, because he wanted them to avoid the mixing with men.
They refrained from watering their flock because
they were staying away from mixing with people until people are done with watering their herds, and then they would do it. So he helped them in that respect. And then he stayed away from them. He went to the tree and he sat under the shade. And then finally they saw this exemplary man. And they said to the father, this is what happened. He said, well, call him. Inna abi yad'uka liyajziyaka ajra ma saqayta lana. So they wanted to reward him for what he did. Finally, when he saw this great man with this caliber and personality and, mashallah, the piety, and of course, he probably knew that this is a gifted man, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him later on the message to be a messenger. And he's one of the great messengers, one of Ullal Azm, those who have power and strength. This is what we need to see. We saw this in a man, but we need to see how these women conducted themselves. They actually made Musa alayhi salatu wasalam to accept the offer from the father. And even he made a condition, على أن تأجرني 8 حجج فإن أتممت 10 فمن عندك. Only he would work for him for 8 years. And if he would add even 2 to make them 10, that would be nice, and he would thank him for that. He said yes. So, even if we say the dowry was so high, still he accepted that because he saw the girl that conducted herself in this way was worthy of asking her to be a wife for him.
And subhanAllah, today, if you look at some of the girls and women in the Muslim world, you see that there is no shame in their faces. So they indulge themselves among men, speak in a loud voice, and sometimes men are shy and they, hold back because what is this? I'm not going to go and grapple with this woman. and she would maybe love to do that. They don't have this haya. And that's why men are so selective nowadays when they want to marry.
They're very careful.
Yeah, I work with this woman and I deal with that woman. I don't think of them as future wives at all. I need my mom to choose someone with these characteristics.
Let me bring the issue.
Sorry, Dr. Ahmed, great point. We're just going to have to take a break, inshallah, and we'll be right back within a few minutes on Peace TV.
God is great.
Dialogue. Discussion. Debate. Rebuttal. Conclusion.
Eliminate misconceptions about religion. Get enlightened.
Witness Dr. Zakir Naik in a battle of words in Crossfire tonight at 8:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 10 a.m. India on Peace TV. Students of Islamic International School showcase on eve of the IIS Annual Day event.
Welcome you to the grand finale of the Islamic International School. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Performances par excellence, recitations soul-stirring.
Man means momentary pleasure when I am with him and goes astray. They are the enemy. so beware of them. This is the summary of recurring expenses this month.
And don't you forget who's the boss. Oh, yeah?
Watch these school kids impress and uplift your hearts, your minds, and your iman.
With Allah's help, this will be a memorable event.
Whiz Kids. Next on Peace TV.
God is great.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. We are talking about the ideal Muslim wife, the ideal Muslim woman, her characteristics. What should a man look for into a wife, and what should a woman aspire to be as a Muslim wife? And Dr. Ahmed, just before the break, you were making a point. Sorry, I cut you off.
I was going to point out that one important thing that we were talking about before starting this episode, and Sheikh Asim was joking about women getting into nagging and raising their voice and all that. He said, maybe I prefer women who doesn't even speak, only using a sign language. I know he was joking.
My wife, I wasn't addressing you, so please don't take this personal. It was off air, off record.
But, however, I would say that really he's true in the sense that a husband doesn't like a nagging wife, doesn't like a wife who always talks and is never tired of talking and commenting on everything, asking about every detail. Whom did you go with today? What were you doing? Who's this person who called you? And so on and so forth. Not only because she wanted to share something, but there are many subjects that do not attach themselves or they're not related to his personal life, his work, his friends, and so on and so forth. She needs to refrain a bit from these things and only talk about necessary things. You know, a man comes home, he's tired from work, he needs some rest, he doesn't want to boggle his mind with so many questions or so many issues, but she's willing to open a whole chapter of things to ask about or to tell her. Yes, she needs to choose the right time when she communicates with the husband, and communicates also in a nice and softer way so that he can act accordingly. And I think once she's the one who has the key for a successful conversation, a successful communication with the husband, and therefore she needs to look after the tongue. Once she holds that tongue, I think a lot of things would be so much easy in that relationship between a husband and a wife.
Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, is a big example. Allah Azza wa Jal gave her a house in Jannah that has no loud noise and it has no being tired or working. Fatigue. Scholars said that this is because this is what she gave the Prophet ﷺ. She would never ever allow him to work. She would never allow him to work in the house. Unlike when he married the other women, he used to stitch his thobe and fix his sandals and milk his goat. But Khadija would not ever let him do this thing. And there was no loud noise in the house. The children were always hush-hush. She would not nag him. She would not shout at him. So it was a paradise on earth. And that's why he was so sad when she died. And that year was known as Aam al-Huzn, the year of sorrow, because of her death and because of his love to her. May Allah be pleased with her.
Following to what you're saying, Sheikh Salim, the woman, is it part of her characteristic as being an ideal wife to serve her husband in the house?
Before answering this question, this is a piece of advice for all my sisters. A man, sometimes he needs to have room. Give him that room. Leave him alone. He has a problem. He wants to think about it. And she is nagging. What is wrong? I'm your partner. Leave me alone.
He needs space.
He needs space. Give that room. Okay, he's thinking about it. And you are interfering, interrupting him, etc. No, leave him. You have to be smart. You study your husband, when to talk to him, when he's in the mood, when you want something, when he's in the mood, when he's ready to listen to you, then you can demand.
Advocating on behalf of the women, because I have so many of them and at home. At the same time, we sometimes abuse this space.
Yes.
And we are 24/7 with the boys, with the hood, with the
mobile
games, with mobiles, going out. Don't talk to me, don't ask me where I am. So he comes from work, takes a shower, takes a nap, prays Asr, and he goes and comes back at the end of the night. So yes, we have to be fair.
Of course,
yeah,
you need to balance it.
Generally speaking,
a husband needs that. So when you know that he wants to be by himself, give him that. Give him that privilege, give him that chance. He wants to be by himself. Also the haya, we mentioned the haya. The haya is a very important element in the marital life. When they described the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَشَدُّ حَيَاءً مِنَ الْبِكْرِ فِي خِدْرِهَا. See? The haya and the shyness and the bashfulness is more than that of a virgin girl in her tent. See, the girls in the past, the mu'minat, and still, alhamdulillah, they are still there. Alhamdulillah. They are that bashful. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَالْبِكْرُ إِذْنُهَا صِمَاتُهَا. The consent of the virgin girl is her silence.
When proposed to.
When she proposed to. Khalas, she is silent. Nowadays, are they silent? He brings him. So what happened to the Muslimat, to the Muslim sister?
Adding to that kindly is the issue of the mobile and the social media that have entered our lives without any permission. Unfortunately, this has taken time from both the husband and the wife. And particularly when you come home or you're in bed or you're about to sleep, and then the wife is very busy using her phone and chatting or looking up Facebook or Instagram, whatever. And I think the husband needs at least just a little attention. That is important for both of them. That's what I see as an advice, is to keep the cell phone out of your bedroom. You know, this is the time for both husband and wife to spend together, to communicate, because maybe during the day they didn't have the time, maybe the children were busy, but now you're alone in your own bedroom. This is the time to communicate, to at least tell her about, you know, your feelings towards her and vice versa. This is important because we're now being very much preoccupied with things other than what we used to have in the past.
This reminds me of a brother calling the sheikh, and he is telling, oh sheikh, mashallah, when I wake up in the middle of the night and I look at my wife, her face is glowing of the virtue of the iman. And the sheikh says, you stupid, go and check your mobile. She's looking into your own mobile, and you think that this is her face glowing? The mobiles and the amount of some of our sisters trying to not investigate, interrogate the husband of what are his activities, checking his emails. And the husbands do the same, of course, but again, a woman should not be dominating. She should give him some space, not all the space he needs or wants, because sometimes she says, I haven't seen him in like a couple of weeks. I'm giving him space. No, this is wrong. You have to balance, not to let go and not to clamp into his neck like a vampire, not letting go. You have to.
And that brings us to the issue of trust.
Trust, yes.
Trust is very important to keep the family together and the husband and wife having this peace in their lives. If they start to mistrust each other, then obviously the result would be the loss of this relationship, or otherwise they would live in hell, because everyone is checking on the other, everyone is seeing the faults, everyone is interpreting any action or any word being said as a negative thing, and they keep on doing this. They need to build their trust, but they need to come to terms with what I do. You know, if I trust you, then you should trust me. And of course, trust comes from actions, not only words. If I know that you're, mashallah, straight person, you're doing your religious duties, you are a person who, mashallah, attends salah in time and all that, normally I should trust you, you know. But if I see a sign of a problem, then I need to communicate with you. I need to sit down, not check on you, but rather sit with you, my lovely husband, my sweetheart, this, I have noticed this. What do you think? What is your interpretation? You know, how is that? Is anything bothering you in your life? Are you having any trouble with your work, with your relationships with other men, and so on and so forth. That is going to rectify the situation before it gets worse. We need to do this in order for this relationship to continue in peace.
MashaAllah, we've reached the end of our episode again. Jazakumullah khair. We'll see you in the next episode, bidnillah. And to you, our dear guests and our dear viewers, thank you for watching Peace TV, and we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When you're lonely, praise Him every day. Say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great.